years ago I made this garden shed in the style of a Japanese tea house, and you can see there's a bit of an area there for seating with friends, a bit of a garden shed off the side of that where I keep the lawnmower, garden tools, all the rest of it. But inevitably, when you're working on a project like this, you will get a bit of waste in terms of the wood used. Slate roof, that's fine. I ordered that pretty much to perfection actually. It worked out quite well, but wood offcuts inevitably are going to be a bit of waste. So I don't like waste, so I'm going to put all of the wooden offcuts I've got left over from this project to good use and make a bonsai bench on the cheap, and I'm going to explain how I'm going to do that right now. So let's get started and head over to the workbench. There's a Mitre saw here, which is great for cutting 90° and 45° angles, just to make sure that they're all accurate and precise. I've got two cordless drills, one set up with a 4mm or 5mm diameter bit, just to produce a little pilot hole for the screws so that we don't split the wood, and then there's a countersink bit there that you can see as well, just to make sure that the screw heads are nice and flush. And timber, choice of timber, we've got some Western Redwood cedar here. Now obviously this is a very dense hardwood, and is a little bit left over from when I was doing the fence posts a couple of years ago, so I won't be using that because I haven't got enough of it. This is pressure treated timber. This is a copper sulfate bath, which is put under high pressure and forced into the timber when they produce this, and it makes it quite weather resistant, which is great. It's just ordinary pine, but it makes it last a little bit longer outdoors, so that's advisable if you're going to choose a particular type of lumber. And I've got some untreated timber here. This is left over from an old airing cupboard that used to be inside the house, so I'll be using these and cutting them up for the laths for the top. For the table. So there you go, that's a little selection of different types of material that you can encounter. If you can go for hardwood, go for it, but obviously it's going to cost you more. But in any case, I'd advise you stain it and weatherproof it just to make sure that it's weather resistant. So let's get cracking. So this is where I'm at so far. This is the amount of timber that I've had spare, so that's the limiting factor in making the bench. It's 4 foot in width, in length rather, and just over 2.5 feet high, and in width the base is just 19 inches. So one of the things that you've got to think about when you're making a bench is it's got to be sturdy, because obviously the bonsai pots, you don't want them falling off in the wind. So the width, if I could have gone a few extra inches I would have done, but that's just been the limiting factor on the timber. It's got cross bracing just to make sure that it's all strong, and the tops again just come from that airing cupboard. This is the non-pressurised, untreated timber, so I'm going to make sure that it's got plenty of wax coating on it to make sure it's protected. And I'm just cutting these down in length from the sort of 70 or so centimetres that they were, down to 2 foot in width, just to prevent it from overhanging and toppling over. So I'm going to get screwing those down, but I'm going to get screwing them down with some screws from this box. Now I'm just going to show you something over here. You just bring the camera in over here, and I'll just show you the contents of this box. So this was bought at an auction place for about 20 quid, and that's all of the screws that you see inside the box. Nuts and bolts there accepted, because that's different, that's from a car project and left over. But these boxes of screws, traditionally, if you went over the counter, they would cost anywhere in the region of 6 or 7 quid just for a box, especially these wide diameter ones. These are 6mm threads on these, and there's literally boxes and boxes of screws that I got. I'll put the link in the description below, but this is how you can save money on the project quite easily. And these are all yellow zinc passivated, so this is a better treated surface than just plain zinc, but obviously you're going to stain it anyway to make sure that it doesn't rust. If you can get hold of some stainless fasteners like these for instance, that's even better. The copper sulfate can have a tendency to rob the zinc plating from your steel screws a little bit faster outdoors, so If you can use stainless fasteners, that's even better, but obviously they cost more than your standard fasteners that you find. But just goes to show that if you hunt around for a good bargain, you can get some good deals out there. Hearing protection required. These are the old nails that need removing, and there's a bit of rot in the wood there, so we'll just get rid of that to start with. And 20 inches, so we'll mark it off 20 inches at the end, and then we'll mark off, whilst we've got the tape measure out, we'll mark off the halfway mark at 10 inches as well. That's the one we're going to use to align them on the bench. The next stage obviously is the sanding of the wood. I want to get rid of all of this old surface where there's been a little bit of weathering on it because it's been under the bench, and best sander is really a belt sander. They're quite aggressive, but in terms of cleaning off wood back to a clean surface, there's nothing better really. So I'm going to stick this upside down in a vise later on and just belt sand all of these one at a time, and I'll just show you that process later on. Okay, so it's time to stain the bench now, and I'm going to talk through the different types of stain that you'll probably encounter. I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs here, but it's just from experience really. This one is a solvent-based one, this one is a water-based one. The water-based one is cheaper than the solvent-based one, and I always find from experience that the solvent-based one lasts a lot longer on the timber than the water-based one. So if you want to go in bulk and you don't mind repainting your fence every year or whatever you're making, you can go for the water-based one, but for longevity I always prefer the solvent-based one. This one is a teak colour from Saddlein, good brand, and I tend to use it. Just apply it with an old brush. This is a 1.5 inch brush. It's seen a bit of wear, but it'll do for the job. So let's get staining. So there you go, the bench is now complete. I think it must have cost about £5 in total in terms of materials. If you've made a bonsai bench before, then perhaps you'd like to let me know how you made yours in the comment section below. And if you want to see how I made this tea house, then feel free to click the subscribe button and you'll get a notification when it goes live. Until next time, take care.